There we go. This is the whole point of it. Ta-da! That's actually... it's off the ground. It's taken that load quite nicely. It's sat there. Yeah, not too bad at all. So whatever that weighs, which must be a few hundred kilograms, I would have thought. Absolutely fine. Just spooning it in. I'm not even using the graboid thing. I'll use the graboid thing for the destination. But there we go. It's actually being productive. I need to move these stones and then I can get the machine into the barn. One thing it does I really don't like. Oh, I find out how to shut the engine off. When you pull it all the way back, it pushes a plate in the back. Shall I show you? Oh, I'll do it later. Bit of throttle, a bit of this. Ooh! How about that? When it moves, it's quite jerky. So when you're trying to navigate around here, it gets to the point where it goes. I'll try and put the camera on the side so I can show you how it is. I've not done any electrics yet. All I care about is when it starts. I think if I was to turn that there. Yeah, look, actually got a bit of voltage. The sensor's not working, lights are not really know about that. So all I need this for is turn it on to the starter, so it starts. Anyway, look, we're done for now. Get cracking. I need to get these rocks up here by the end of tomorrow, so I'm right ahead of the schedule at the moment, which is fantastic. Come out with the big ones to make another outbound walk. I'll show you that in a minute. Digger in a minute because I don't think I'll balance very well. I'm reaching a bit too far. Let's have a little looky. I've got the blade and the digger. Let's just see if I can get it. No, don't fall. Don't fall. So half of this is just a bit guesswork. Oh, as you can see. So I might have to disassemble because they fell out. Although they look pretty crap anyway. However bad it may look, it's a lot harder than a normal digger bucket. Although to be fair, this is one of the smallest grabs you can get, because it's only I've only got a little tiny mini digger. That one's nearly right. I want to push it down there and then push the left hand side backwards. But that's not easy. So maybe I pull it over a little bit. Get a bit closer. I'm in the barn having a great time. We're mucking about with 12 volts at the moment. So I've got a number of things like lined up in my head of what I want to deal with. And to summarise some of that, I've got a bit of welding down here. That crack there. Need to sort that out. Might have to disconnect that connection there. I can weld it from one side, seems a bit lame, so I might just disconnect it so I can weld it out properly. Right, I've had a bit of fun with the electrics, so I'm sort of, I'm essentially going to rewire it because now I understand the wiring. I've sat in there for a couple of hours and just reverse engineered it all. There's nothing here. It probably looks messy because you've never seen it before, but trust me, they're very, very simple machines. You need very, very little in terms of running these things. I did manage to work out in the end that there's a throttle linkage here. This thing here moves forwards and backwards, so push it that way, make it go faster. It basically turns this lever here, which pivots here, and it gives us a bit more juice if you push it that way, and then you push it all the way back again. Oh god, that direction. Push it all the way back, and this lever hits this metal plate, hits underneath this little ramp, which pushes this up, which pushes this down, and that down pushes that valve. Can you see the valve in there? That valve there gets pushed down, and that shuts off the fuel. To actually shut the machine off, you pull the lever right the way back hard, lifts this up, pushes that down, closes that valve. Otherwise the throttle just moves forwards and backwards and say rotates upon this axis here, which just gives you more or less fuel because this is rotating. That's just a bump stop for where it ends up, like an idle position. Right, where else are we? I do need to take the cab off at some point. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, take the cab off, go and spray it up. So the only thing that's going to be fixed into this thing is going to be lights. It's going to be 2 lights, so I just need to make sure I put plugs on them, and then the whole wiring harness can drop down, which is actually trying to drop down right now. That dashboard across the front there in the middle. So that is the dashboard. It's a bit inside out at the moment. You're looking at the inside of it. That thing there will just drop down. All these wires here are just actually, there's a bolt holding them in up there. All these wires will drop down, and that would allow this whole metal cab to come off, so I can take it away and paint it, put a couple of stickers on it that used to be there, and paint this, and then it will also let me paint the inside of these arms. It doesn't have to be done, but I've got the paint, so why not? So I can just make that look a bit prettier. Inside there, I've got to take the seat off, I've got to take that bottom tray off. That will let me get into the adjustment to adjust these 2 levers because it's creeping forward slightly. There's an adjustment down there on that arm. And then I bolt all the seat back in again. May or not spray this back panel, still not decided. If I get the cab off and out of the way, that might be the point where I decide, am I going to spray that back panel and just like blanket everything else off. The back of it's got to be sprayed orange as well, so the wheels, is kind of a bit irrelevant really, but yeah, I'm just going through all the wiring at the moment. I've got a lot of crap connections, or I've got cables which are substantial cables that have just got crap joints. There's quite a lot of it, strangely. I don't know why. It must just be a thing. So this cable here, all right, that should be a substantial connection, and it's not. It's crap. There's only half the wires left there. I don't know if you can see that. You know, it's just like hanging on. The same with this thing underneath it. I got this. See this? Do you know why I got nail varnish on? Because I kept getting so much crap under my nails the other day, and then cleaned them all out. I just thought, you know what? I know what women do, because my wife told me. They just paint their nails, and then you can't see all the dirt underneath it. So I thought, I'm going to paint them then. Of course, it all came off and everything, but you know, look how pretty that is. Right. There's an earth connection there. Look at that. Watch. Do it in the light. Ooh, can you see that? Look. That's an earth connection. That actually goes up and supplies these two black cables. I think it goes right the way up to the back of the ignition switch, right up there. It's just hanging off. I don't know why I went squeaky there. Like this feed coming into the starter as well. That one in the middle. Focus. It's just crap. So I'm gonna change the way it's set up. That's my plan. I'm gonna take a decent feed from here, take it right up to the front, and then drive all the electrics. I'll also take a reasonable feed, go up to the electrics, through a switch which has got a big illuminator on it that comes all the way back, that drives a relay back here, another relay that then drives the preheater. So this hasn't got glow plugs here, which is where you'd normally have them. This is just two fuel lines coming into the top of the two cylinders, and then there's a fuel return line here which goes back down to the diesel tank. But it has got on the air intake, which I believe is through the side of the body there, that's air coming in. I think it goes in here through a filter, back out through there. It then goes underneath here, it then goes across here and in to the top of the engine. And when it comes in, there's this wire, this wire that I just said, look at that, it's a load of crap. Where are we? That one. Oh, that one there. That's coming off a live feed. So here's a live coming off the battery. Here's a big fat, well not fat, but nice cable. That cable goes into that relay up there. That like solenoid thing there. So that's the big cable coming into the top of it. It's this one. It's that one there. Or is it there? It's there. And then from there, it goes down, so it's coming from that live feed into there. Once you engage this point, once you put 12 volts on there, it allows a current to flow through it, which then lets current go down through this big wire now. That wire goes up through here, up here, through there, and it goes to the preheater, which is on the air that's coming in. The preheater is down there. So it's actually attached to the, you can't see it. The preheater is just like a glow plug in line of the air coming into the engine, so that's where it gets hot. So I'm going to reroute that so I can actually have a big red switch. So I flick it and then it lights up bright red, and then you can count to like 20 or something like that. That will have heated up the air in the intake, and then I have another button that says engine start. So you then start the engine and then you can turn off the preheater. That's what I'm going to do. Rather than at the moment, when you actually turn the key, it actually enables that connection there, which allows both the starter and the preheater to run off of this one solenoid at the same time. So it's not preheating, it's heating at the same time as it's trying to start. Stupid idea. That's probably because at some point it had one solenoid relay thing there and one there. So I'm going to bring one back again, but with like a manual override. I'm not even sure I want to bother with the key. So that means once I've got, let's say, a push button to trigger the starter through a relay, and I've also got a switch with the right red light to trigger the preheater, the only thing I need is a separate circuit now for all of the lights and the other electrics. When I say the other electrics, there's not a lot to it. These things are very, very simple. I know it looks messy. They're very, very simple. Look, this is a light switch with about 4 positions on it, 3 or 4. So I just replaced that with some decent light switches. This is an hour counter. It just needs 12 volts and that will start processing. This is a fuel gauge. So this basically needs 12 volts. And then the other voltage actually goes through a sensor on the diesel tank. So basically it's just got a resistance on it, like 190 ohms or something. So by the time the signal goes down through that sensor in the diesel tank and comes back to this, it's probably only got about 8 volts on it because it has resistance. So therefore 8 volts only pushes it up some way. So it's a really simple mechanism, a measuring thing in the diesel tank to just produce a voltage between 0 and 12 volts, which is based on how much current flows through the sensor in the diesel tank. Did you get that? Kind of, it should be quite straightforward. I just explained it really badly. Anyway, it's really simple. this is a warning light, this is a warning light. Don't need them. They're literally just, from what I've managed to work out so far, they don't do anything unless the two sensors, which I think is transmission and engine, get so super duper hot that I think it's got a bimetallic strip in it, and all that happens, it gets so hot the strip actually closes up, makes a circuit, and the light comes on. So they don't control anything, they just let you know, and a light comes on when it gets bloody hot. I think that's how it works. If it's not a bimetallic strip, then it's some sort of pressure sensor inside. Not worked it out. All I'm gonna reckon it is like an open circuit unless something happens, and then it goes closed circuit and turns the light bulb on. So I'll work those out afterwards. They could just be a couple of bulbs. I don't really know. I'm not even sure if I need them. But voltage meter. That's all that one is. That gauge. And then the key to turn it on. And the key is just for the starter. So what you've got is like a lighting circuit, really. There's just nothing there. And none of that. The only thing that's needed to start it is the starter. And you could do that with just a bit of wire straight to the battery. You know, you could do it with a screwdriver in the back, just short out the starter. So all the circuits are really simple. It just looks messy. And most of the cables in there aren't even used. When you trace them back, they go to optional wiring that you just don't need. There's one hanging down there, look. Don't do nothing. Live on first light. Click. So all it's doing is there's a separate circuit. It's probably for other lights that you can have as options. And you basically just plug the other lights into there. So when you do the first click, lights come on. But bits of wire hanging down, you don't need it. I wonder what that was. It's a cat. Right, I think you're up to date. So I've got a few things to do. Get the seat off, sort that out, change the levers a little bit of welding. Bit of wiring, which I'm playing with now because, well, why not? And yeah, just getting. At some point, I need to take the wheels off. So these things are so unstable like this. There's no weight on the front. All the weight is right back here. I'm pointing behind these wheels now because it is. The centre of gravity is right back here. So if you go outside and just push it forwards, the thing is just going to wheelie. I don't know what's going to happen because this bit here is going to hit the ground. But at that point, you're sort of sitting looking up in the air like that. It's terrifying. But it's terrifying because I'm not used to it. Once I'm used to it, maybe I can just wheel it around the place. But for the moment, no, not a pleasant thing. It's a bit, I'm going through 4 pairs of underpants, just trying to drive it up a 3-inch step from the outside, driving it forwards here because it's so light on the front. You can see now why I reversed it in. I tried to drive it forwards, flipping heck. The front wheels just went up in the air. I pooed my pants because I'm not used to it. Simple as that. Right, I'll stop talking and think. So I've kind of learned a little bit more about how these work. They're very, very simple. Once this thing starts, and when you've got the stupid preheater, when the preheater fires at the same time as the starter, it doesn't obviously get time to preheat. So what happens is you just get a lot of diesel smoke out of here. But you can see it's like a train starting it chuff, 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 as it's not burning the diesel properly, but it is, because it's a mechanical pump. As soon as you turn the starter, you're turning the mechanical fuel pump. It's pumping fuel into the cylinder, which is partly being burnt, and it comes out here like vaporized. It's like it stinks, but it's just unburnt diesel. Chuff, chuff, really smoky, really messy. And then when it fires suddenly, once the preheat start doing its stuff, bum 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 bum, you get a load of smoke, and it does that bum 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 because it's a twin. It will be very, very smoky. And then a few minutes later, as soon as it's up to temperature, because being diesel, they generate a lot of heat inside the cylinder because of the compression, it settles down. It's really, really quite cool. So it's quite amazing because I think it's 47 years old. Original engine, as far as I know, which is just fantastic. What? Speak to me. I speak English. Why can't you speak English? That told you, didn't it? Right. So the preheat is kind of be a nice thing because it might just reduce some of the kind of stinkiness. Paint this thing orange. The whole back's going to be orange. The wheels will be just orange. And then I've got some white paint for all of this. And then, of course, black paint for the cab if I can get the cab off. Or I do the cab another day. I don't know. Who knows? Right. I'm going to get on with it. See you in a bit.